Hi.
What's up, girl?
Nothing much. I'm gonna let the dogs out so we can have some quiet. Let me let them out really quick. All right, go ahead. There
Oh,
we
you
go.
got more than Shy over there.
Yes, unfortunately now it's a house full of dogs.
Oh, that's awesome. He has company.
He likes it. He's having a good time.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Well, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. It's good to see
Of
your
course,
face.
of course. Thank you for having me. I mean, I guess this is a good way to connect with friends while we can't actually physically see each other.
Right. Well, thank you everybody for joining, being on time and timely. This is Be Great, Good to Great. We're highlighting people in their walks of life and their journey. And I have the beautiful, the wonderful Miss Katlynn Simone here.
Thank you.
Um, so we met actually through a mutual friend, my friend Joy. I've known her since over 10 years, a long time.
Hmm.
And she works on the set of Empire. And obviously, I'm sure that's how she met you.
Yes.
And yeah, and that's how we all linked up. But don't want to give too much of your background, but I want you to kind of introduce yourself, just who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
Okay, well, my name is Katlynn Simone. That's my stage name. I'm actually Caitlin Smith. I am an actress and singer, and I'm born and raised in Houston, Texas. I've lived in LA and Atlanta for a while now, and then I was in Chicago for 2 years, but I'm from Houston, Texas.
And how long were you in Houston for?
I was in Houston until around the age of, it's kind of tricky. The timeline is messed up because I stopped high school when I was turning 14 years old and started
Hmm.
college. And that's when I booked my first television role.
Okay.
So I was going back and forth from Houston and LA then.
Okay.
Um, but I was a minor. So I didn't officially move until I was still a minor, but 17.
Hmm.
That's when I moved to LA by myself. And then immediately I had to go to Atlanta to start working. So it's been really weird. I haven't been anywhere for a long time.
Wait, you moved by yourself?
Yeah, I
How do
did.
you do that at 17 and just pick up and say, you know what? I want to pursue this. I'm gonna go, and your parents are like, you know what? That's great, honey. Just move somewhere by yourself.
No, you know what? They weren't like that. They weren't like that at all. It was scary for everyone, I think. It was definitely scary for me, but I think the main thing was I had been working since I was 13, like I said, so I feel like I kind of grew up a little faster than I was supposed to.
Hmm.
But it was definitely scary for everybody. My mom came out there pretty much almost every weekend, it seemed like. My grandma,
Okay.
who wasn't working, would come out there and visit me, and it wasn't like I was totally alone. And then it was a secret to everyone. Like my mom would always say, just don't tell anybody that you're there by yourself. Don't tell anybody. Because I mean, safety reasons and because, I mean, most people probably be like, damn, you're out there by yourself.
Right. I mean, that all makes sense. So, and you went to college, right? You went to school
Hmm.
in LA.
Yeah, well, okay, so college was a long journey. Technically, I finished college on time
Hmm.
with people that were my age, and it was fine. But I started college at the age of 14. So I should have been done years ago.
Okay.
Like, I should have been done by the time I was around 18 years old.
Hmm.
But I took like one class or, a couple credits, and then I would take some time off. I hopped around. I went to school in Houston, and then I
Hmm.
transferred to school out in LA, and eventually finished at UCLA.
Got it. And did UCLA help you with like acting at all?
I think the best part about UCLA for me, and I try to tell everyone to take this home because I think a lot of times college students can kind of let those years brush by without taking full advantage of it.
Hmm.
Friends of mine that were in sororities, like my sister, she's a Delta, and I know you got to do the
Yep.
same thing. But I think that maybe they get more of a sense of like use your connections, build those relationships. But a lot of kids that I think aren't a part of those type of organizations, they might just kind of attend class, try to make good grades, and graduate.
Hmm.
But as an actress, it's very, very important if you are in any type of anything, school, community theater, anything, you gain those relationships, because everyone there is going to be the future agent, the future writer, the future director. You know what I mean? Like, you
Mm-hmm.
have to start there. That's where it all starts. So, UCLA Film School, I had a minor in film. My major was African American Studies. I gained a lot from it. I learned a lot of, even techniques on the other side, but I also got a lot of relationships from people that are the up and coming filmmakers of today. So it was
I
pretty
love
cool.
that. And for everyone that's listening too, like feel free if you have any questions for Katlynn too, like drop them in the comments or hit that little Q&A thing and we'll pull it up too. So a couple questions that I have. So when you started out, right? When you said you started working at 13, was that acting then? Like, how did you know you wanted to act? And then what was that push like? Was your mom like, okay, well, I'll get you into acting, so let's find you an agent? Or like, I feel like a lot of people don't know how to start, right? How
Yeah.
to get or make that momentum. So what did you do?
Um, you know what's crazy? I every time now people ask me that question of how do I get a start, I feel old because I start to tell them how I did it, and then I realize that times have changed so much. Like,
Hmm.
the way that I got an agent, you can't do that anymore. It's so crazy. So
Hmm.
basically, I started off singing, but I was a super, super shy singer. I didn't like to sing in front of anybody. So my mom put me in local theater and in musical theater, and that helped bring out my, charisma, stage presence, whatever I was lacking before. And I just found out that I was really in love with it. It was another way, like, singing is a form of storytelling. So I
Hmm.
really, I found out that acting was the same exact thing, and I loved it. I did a play when I was super young, and an agent was in the audience. And it was a small town Houston agent, which is all you need because that's where I got my audition for the game, which is the first show that I booked. And that's exactly what happened. Somebody was in the audience, and that's the part that can definitely happen. Now,
Hmm.
let me tell you how I got my LA agent, because that's what most people want to know. So my LA agency, my mom and I went out to LA the first summer whenever I was right after I booked the game. So I had to be 14,
Okay.
and went out there for the summer to go find representation. We
Hmm.
took a bunch of my pictures and resumes, and we would walk up to the agencies, ask them if they were taking submissions, and they had a little bin on the reception desk that you could just put your pictures into.
Hmm.
I don't think they do that anymore. Number one, I don't think that you can walk up into an agency without an appointment.
Yeah.
And number two, everything is electronic now.
Yeah.
In fact, even auditions that I go on now, or like, I haven't been in the room in a long time, but if I, the auditions I went to before, they don't even take headshots and resumes in person. They'll say that they're going green and they have it online.
Mm.
So I think now, from the outside looking in, as someone that's in it, if you're up and coming or newer or trying to step in, the best advice I can give you is to be involved in making and creating as much as you can without the represent. Like, don't go looking for the representation without constantly being creative and creating content.
Mm.
Now we have social media, so you can make skits, you can make short films, you can make all kinds of things online. And I swear to God, the casting directors and writers and directors are active on social media and watching and finding talent on social media right now.
Oh wow. So that's like
Especially
their new thing. Yeah. Okay.
especially right now. In fact, during the quarantine, people you need to do research and find out, pick 5 of your favorite films today, find out who directed them, who wrote them, who casted them. Go on Instagram, follow the casting director, the director, the writer. The casting directors and the writers are doing these Zoom master classes right now on Instagram and on social media because of the whole coronavirus thing. So people can really take advantage of this. Like, I know several writers that I've worked with that have done Q&As on here and everything. I'm like, people have it really a lot easier personally than like walking up to some office and dumping their
Right.
picture off. So
That's
yeah,
awesome that they're
sorry
making
to
and
go on
creating a
a
lot of resources. No, that's good. I mean, that's what people want to know, right? So it's like
yeah.
if I how do I make that first step and then you're saying, "Okay, this is how I did it." And yes, you probably can't do that now, but like here's what you can do, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I always laugh because, an athlete will go back and watch film and that's part of their practice.
Hmm.
They watch their plays and everything. As an actress, up and coming actress, and even musician, one of the coolest parts about that job or that title is that your practice and your studying is literally watching movies, watching television, and listening to music and singing music or creating music. And like, how fun is that? So like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So like, to take 5 movies a day, or if you don't have the time, like, we binge shows all day sometimes. Just take the best movies that you think and find out who put those shows or those movies together and go follow them on Instagram. Stay locked in what they're doing. Just Google their names, go under the news tab and see what other, things that they're
Hmm.
working on. Shout them out on Twitter. They look at that stuff. They really do.
You're dropping gems right now to these people. I'm also writing this stuff down, so just in case you guys miss some, I'll put it on the website after, so you guys can get that.
Yeah, it's really
Um,
cool. Like I said, it's a little easier, I think.
hmm.
Not to downplay anything, but I really do wish that, the writers, directors, casting directors were on social media when I was, trying to get into it.
So we got a question from Joy. Joy said, with your degree being in African American history, do you see yourself acting in an African American history based film if that opportunity presented itself?
Yes, actually, so my one of my idols, I don't want to say like my only idol, but one of my idols is Ava DuVernay,
Hmm.
and she graduated from UCLA as well, with the same degree actually, African American Studies. But she ended up becoming this filmmaker who tried to prioritize, I think, her work and storytelling in the Black story, just
Hmm.
really telling the Black story. And so that is something that really speaks to me. Ever since I chose African American Studies, for one, because I felt like growing up in Texas, I didn't get necessarily the amount of information about my history that I wanted to know. My family definitely, told me things, but I feel like I was missing a lot of information. So that's why I chose that degree. And after learning what I learned, after maybe like a year or two, I was like, okay, this is what I want to make film about. I
Hmm.
want to make film about injustices. I want to make film about civil rights. That's what I really want to tell. So definitely want to act in it, but I also want to direct, produce, and write it.
So that, I mean, one of that next, my next questions were, what are your goals, right? And I think that's probably the best segue, right? So for
Yeah,
you, your end goal is not to always act. You want to
no,
be kind
definitely
of
not.
behind the cameras then.
Yeah, the end goal is definitely to merge into behind the cameras, and not only just in directing and writing, producing movies, but also with my music. I want to be able to create amazing visual content for my music. My music videos, I hoped to be looked at as short films. Not
Oh,
not just a music video, but an actual short film that someone can sit down and be entertained with from start to finish.
yeah, a lot of music videos are lacking that now, right? It's just kind of the same old, same old.
Yeah, and one thing that's really interesting to me that I've noticed is that some artists do have that idea, and they're starting to call music video short films again. Like Michael Jackson kind of started the whole wave. He really did it, and
Hmm.
and more people were getting in depth with their music videos, and it went kind of back to just having money thrown everywhere and someone singing and dancing.
Hmm.
But I hope it gets back to real filmmaking, because I mean that's what it should be. If you're going to put a visual together and spend all that money, it should at least be
Yeah.
intriguing.
So we got another question too. I'll pop it up on the screen. It says,
Okay.
when you're acting, how do you gain confidence when being on stage?
Ooh, that's a good one. So, talking about on stage acting or performing and singing on stage, right? Which one should I answer? Because they're
You
kind of
should,
different.
you should get both. Why not?
Okay. Okay. Um, Good thing is, as far as acting goes, I've been fortunate enough to work with a bunch of very humble people and
Hmm.
people that are just kind of like, if you mess up, we don't judge you. We're here to support you. Let's get through it. We all want to go home, you know?
Hmm.
So that's great. But I don't know. I think that sometimes the nerves help a little bit. I think as an actress, it's really important for you to stay on your toes
Hmm.
and to be in the moment and feel everything. Like, that's the part about being an actress that brings your naturalness and your belief, like it being believable. So my nervous energy, I kind of use to kind of like connect and keep the scene rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I use it for my character. There's always a way. Like if your character is upset about something, use that, like channel that nervous energy and kind of put it into that emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever I got on Empire, that was my first show that I was singing on. Even though I sang my entire life, I have never been a singer on stage or a pop star, anything like that. So it was crazy. And the first day I stepped foot on set, I had to sing in front of Taraji P. Henson and Terrence Howard. And I remember just thinking, like, so by now I've been acting for years. I wasn't nervous to be on set around those people, but I was definitely nervous to put on thigh-high boots and some booty shorts and like full on perform this diva song and choreography and everything. I was like, oh God, like, this is my first performance ever and I have to do it in front of them. This is crazy. But it ended up working out. Like I said, the best thing about TV is that you get a lot of takes. Sorry, somebody just shut the door.
You're good.
The best thing about television is that you get a lot of takes. So I actually got the easy way out. I got to do it over and over and over until we got the perfect thing. I can only imagine whenever I actually have, my tour going on and I'm on stage, you get it one time and then it's there forever for that city. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
Wow. I'm sure that's probably like nerve-wracking, right? And I think yesterday, when I was talking to a couple, Jamila and Brooklyn, they were talking about like sometimes there's positive anxiety that you have, right? So it's
Oh
okay to have some
yeah.
good nerves.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think all the nervousness that I get before set, like I said, I can definitely use that and channel that in the scene, and it kind of helps. And it definitely goes away whenever, you work with people and you just realize everyone's human, everyone is stressed about something. Even the best of the best are like
Hmm.
trying to get things together. So, yeah, nothing to be worried about.
We got another question. Was working on two different sets vastly different or similar?
Every set is very different. I can't say that I've worked on one set that's the same. Um, Everybody thinks it's all the same. It's so different. Every personality is different. And even down to Crafty. Like, Crafty is our food service
Oh,
and where
okay.
we get our snacks. Like, every Crafty truck is different. You can't step on one set and necessarily expect it to be the same, but you can always take things from the previous set wherever you're going. I definitely think that it was such a blessing to have worked on, a few shows before going to Empire because I was able to learn certain things and the other shows were definitely like stepping stones onto, the Fox set of
Hmm.
Empire to be around these people and, just get used to sometimes if you're thrown into a situation and people are like ripping and running trying to get things done, you can kind of it can kind of throw you off. It can make you nervous. It can even make you feel like maybe you're not doing well because everybody's kind of just like about the business, but if you've
Hmm.
been there done that, you kind of understand. So
And does everyone kind of like kick it after, like as like, everybody that's on set there is everybody pretty
yeah,
much friends?
I think it's pretty much like any job, like we of course you're gonna have friends and then you're gonna have people that are your friend, but maybe they have families. Like I'm one of the younger people on set. I'm single, no kids, so people on set that definitely we look up to, but they're way more busy than us and they have families and so many other responsibilities, but we all get along. So it was definitely fun working with everybody.
Love that. Does it matter? I know you said you're in Houston and pretty much all over the world for acting, but like, do you think primarily somebody should be in LA if they want to act?
Um, yes, I would say so. There are some hub cities, LA being the number one hub. There are other cities like Atlanta. I'm trying to think of other ones that they're kind of filming in Toronto, Vancouver, maybe more than Toronto. New York, Chicago's getting better. They have some filming going on in New Orleans. these are cities that they have all of the projects in. Now, a lot of people get confused and they think, let me go to where this movie got shot because I want to act. So this movie was shot in so and so city. I'm going to go there. But one thing that a lot of people don't know is they will fly people from LA to whatever city. They do
Oh,
local casting everywhere. So if there's a film out here in Houston, they will have casting out here in Houston. But they're not just going to have casting here. They're going to have casting in New York and LA, and they might do Chicago, every city. They might do that, but they're definitely going to do LA and New York.
mm-hmm.
Those are the top two. And frankly, what I've noticed and what's the truth is like I just feel like they are more willing to fly an actress or an actor from LA to wherever it needs to be than actually picking someone local. It saves them money to pick someone local, but for some reason they just always end up flying someone. I think that there's one or two people on Empire that are actually from Chicago and everyone else is from LA.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're in Chicago with all of this talent. I don't know why they do that, but that's just, and it might be a relationship thing, you know.
Yep.
For years and years and years, we're going into these rooms with these casting directors, and it's several days a week. You go into these rooms every day, and you start being friends with some of these people. Like, I'm cool with some casting directors, so whenever a project comes, they might automatically think of, oh, Katlynn would be great for that, and
Mm-hmm.
I just so happen to be in LA, so yeah.
Everything is kind of right. It's a mix of like what you know and who you know, but more so who you know than what you know.
100%. Yeah. It's always it's that thing. I don't know what the exact percentages are, but you know, there's talent, there's hard work, and then there's luck.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And so, what happens for you can talk about like singers or actresses like during quarantine now, right? Like
Mm.
most people believe that all actresses are set, right? Everybody's making millions, so everybody's in their big homes and they're set during quarantine, right? But what is like the typical actress or singer's quarantine do you think
Yeah.
is like right now?
Um I think right now for the entertainment industry in general, it is very, very hard. A lot of people will roll their eyes because I think Joe Biden did something on Sunday night, which was last night, right? My days are all
Mhm.
mixed up. Last night was Sunday. Okay. Um, so yeah, Joe Biden had this, it was like a Q&A, like town hall meeting almost, and it
Mhm.
was for entertainment workers. Um, Basically, because right now all of our productions have stopped. Every single production, unless somebody somehow has a house full of crew members and is able to shoot a movie or a television show in their house, everything has stopped. And even Empire, we're having our last episode tomorrow, and that wasn't supposed to be our last episode, you know? So, it's hard. It's really hard. Entertainment workers are not just rich celebrities. There are the crew members, everyone that's involved. There are writers out there writing. Sometimes writers' rooms for shows have over 30 people in them.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like a writer's room can have 30 people. Um, and even actresses, like, I don't think people understand that our careers are very up and down until you are at a certain level where you can kind of just pick and choose what you do, take a year off and come back and do another one. It's very up and down, and you never know when you're going to be working and when you're not going to be working. So right now it's tough for a lot of people, and I think that it's cool because we have social media and we can make content on here, but it's about trying to make money off of your content. You love what you
Hmm.
do, but you kind of have to survive, you know, and it's difficult. So you guys please keep recording shows, tuning in to shows. That helps a lot of people, even down to like the person that's walking by in the background of the show. You might not think about that person, but there are people that work on sets every single day in LA or New York or in Chicago as extras, and that's how they pay their bills. And they're not working right now. So,
Wow, that's
yeah.
very true. And like you said, even like the catering people who have the catering that was it tasty crafty you said.
Yeah, crafty.
Like
Yeah.
they
It's
don't they're
every
not in business either.
there are so many elements people aren't thinking about. There's the lighting. There's even the people that come and clean the sets after our trailers, the people that we book our trailers from. Like they don't nobody needs trailers right now.
Hmm.
So it's a lot going on, and it's a scary time for everybody.
And so how what do you think actresses or people do if like you know, you're a well-known person, right? I'm sure if you walked out anywhere, somebody would be like, "Oh, Katlynn, I know you from here." Maybe they'll call you by whatever your name is on the game or Empire, right?
Yeah, they usually
I'm
do.
Yeah, I'm sure you get that often. I think I saw something called Treasure in here, so I'm like, oh, I assume that
Mhm.
that's Empire name.
Yeah.
So what happens if like you want to get like a regular job, right? Like you can't Uber people. You can't like go out and work at like your normal, I don't know, convenience store if you just want to make like a little bit of bread on the side because people will like either like shame you or they'll be like, "Oh, I know you," and it's like it takes away
100%.
from the job.
Yeah, there was, and we talked about this before. There was an actor, not actress, actor that in LA, he worked on the Cosby Show, I believe, and he was working at, I believe it was Trader Joe's or some not, grocery store,
Hmm.
and somebody posted it, and then the whole internet just came in on him. And
Oh,
the
Jeffrey
craziest,
Owens. There
there
we
you go,
go.
there you go. I knew it was something Jeffrey. Um, but the thing that was crazy about it is that when that happened, me and all of my actress friends were like, it's so funny because that is a fear as an actor or actress. It's like you get to this point where you're working on a show, somebody might recognize you, and then you're not working on a show, but you need to make money.
Hmm.
You go somewhere, you're waiting a table, and somebody goes, "Aren't you that girl from?" And you're just, it's embarrassing because you kind of feel like, yeah, that's my dream, and obviously I'm doing this, and now it's not going well for me. Like that's
Right,
that's what's going through your mind, is a lot of
right.
insecurities. But that's the life of an actress. Like I said, we're up and down, and I don't think that anybody should take that as something to be ashamed of at all, especially if you have multiple skills. My mom always preached growing up, have a skill, have a skill, have a skill, always like have something else. And
Hmm.
so you can love more than one thing. You can have a first love and a true love, which is your art and your craft, but you always can have something else and another way to gain revenue.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess the best thing too is to not bum rush people when you see them from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's a double-edged sword because as an entertainer, I kind of asked for that attention, and to a certain extent, it's every person's dream to like sing and act on television and somebody come up to them and be like, "Oh my God, I loved you," and that's
Hmm.
that's the dream. I appreciate it. It's amazing. But at the same time, like there's certain times whenever if I look rough and I'm going to the pharmacy to go pick up some meds or something, I'm like, I do not want anybody to come up to me right now. This is not cute. But it's what you ask for. I appreciate all the support. I do. I do wish that people had more of a sense of like everyone is human and anybody could be your neighbor, and
Hmm.
I could have grown up with you. I could have gone to school with you. Like people kind of lose that once you get on television or something, and it's weird to me, but
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe social media will help with that.
Oh, oh. Hopefully it's back.
Brittany,
Yep. Can you hear me?
can you hear me? Okay, I
You hear me? Yep.
can hear you now. I just checked the Wi-Fi to make sure because you were frozen.
Oh, oh, all good. Yeah, it says paused on my end too at first, and I was like, oh man. All right. So the next one says, would you like to do a movie?
Yeah, I've done a couple of films. The most recent one I did, it's a short film, but it's still a film, and I was like the lead, and I got to deal with a gun, and it was like super woman empowerment. The character was so opposite of me, but I loved it. It's called Do the Right Thing. It's actually out on the internet right now, but it was pretty cool. It was fun, and I shot that one in Austin. That's another film city. They shoot a lot of stuff in Austin, Texas.
Hmm, okay. And then, oh, I saw, I was talking to my mom earlier today about you, and she commented, she was like, you did a good job acting like a brat on the game. How do you get into
Thank
character?
you.
That's a question too. How do you do that? How do you get into character prior? Do you have to like look in the mirror and be like, yeah, like this is me, like this is what I'm gonna do.
It's different for everything. I have the weirdest things that I call fun because I'm sure for most people it would sound really weird for me to say, like, I love crying and I love, like, like, I
That is
love
weird.
being upset. I love when, like, traumatic things happen to my character and I have to do that, but I do. I love drama. That's my favorite thing. So that is really when I get something that's dramatic, I'll tend to kind of like take some time, get in that element, really go through and search inside what would help me with this, how do I deliver it. But with brattier characters, I kind of like, I remember whenever I got the game and I started that show, the joke that me and my mom had was, you better not take this back to the house. That's what my mom would always say. So I used to always basically just act like, okay, I get to be a bratty, spoiled brat and get paid for it, but I can only do it on set, and then I have to stop. It was fun. It was fun for me. It
How
was
old were
really
you at
fun.
that time?
So I booked the game when I was 13 years old,
Oh, wow.
and it aired on television when I was 14. And I was on that show for 6 years.
Oh, you could literally live like your worst teen years on the show.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, and everyone would. That's whenever I think that was the roughest I've had as far as fans, not just commenting or coming for me on social media, which was really bad. A lot of people didn't realize I was 13. They thought I was older. And
Oh,
so I had some very terrible, rude comments that were made. I also replaced somebody on the show. So
hmm.
people were upset about it. It's kind of like on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when they, changed the characters for the aunt, and
Hmm.
everybody was kind of upset about it. People were upset about it, and which was understandable, but I don't think, well, they definitely didn't realize I was 13, and that was my first time having a Twitter. I created a Twitter, and I wasn't ready for that. My parents
Hmm.
definitely like were like, "Do not get online. It's okay. Like, just don't look at it." There were petitions to get me off the show. It
Wow.
was it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was good because now I've been on a few more shows, and even though I have not gotten nowhere near the response that I got for the game, everything I can just brush off now because when I was 13, I was called everything under the sun. So there's really nothing that can be said now.
So you literally had to grow thick skin pretty much pretty quickly, and that might be something. Is that for like every maybe singer or actress too? Like somebody's always going to criticize you for one
Yeah.
way or another, and I'm sure people gave you hate mail just because of your character too. I'm sure, and you're just like, this is not me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, no, I would get approached sometimes by people and they would be like, "Why are you acting like that? Like, why do you treat your mom like that on the show?" And I'm like, "They wrote it. That's how I get paid to do it. I'm sorry." But thick skin is 100% crucial. It is so
right.
crucial. Beyond the criticism, just think about the life of an actor or actress. You go into rooms every day, give it your all, pour your heart out, and then they say, okay, thanks. And then 90% of the time, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't have thick skin, that can tear someone apart. So, yeah, it's really important just to be secure with yourself. I think the number one thing that scares me is I get a lot of parents coming up to
Hmm.
me because I started so young. A lot of parents will ask me, how do I get my daughter involved? How do I get my son involved? Tell me how I can get them in the industry, and I want them on television. I want this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the scariest thing for me is a parent that wants it more than the child. If
Hmm.
your child is not begging to do this, if your child is not throwing themselves in front of the camera, if you have to like pry it out of them, please do not put them under that kind of pressure. That's just like so unfair to them because
Hmm.
they're not asking for it and they have to hear like no, and automatically what do you think whenever somebody says no? I'm not good enough. Like that's what you're
Right.
thinking. Like, oh, they must not like me because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough for that. You don't want to put somebody under that unnecessarily. So
Especially if
yeah,
you're young.
that's what I'm saying. People are, I have people coming up to me, and like I said, my parents are they're so removed from this. My mom is in medical, my dad is in chemicals, and they had nothing to do with this. They were very lost. They were like, if this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do. But they weren't. stage parents at all.
Hmm.
At all. They were very supportive, had me with whatever I needed, but they did not know what they were doing either. So while I'm going to auditions when I'm there for the game audition, this is my first audition in LA. I remember going to the audition. Everyone else at that audition, every little girl, had a mom or a dad there. And like, that was my first experience. It was like a movie, Brittany. It was like a movie. It was like legit. Like the parents were like, go, go over the lines in the corner. Like, come on, let's go over the. And I'm sitting there. I'm by myself. My dad pulled up, parked the car, and said, "Go up." And I was like, "Oh, I need to go in by myself." And he was like, "Yeah, it's your meeting. Like, I'll be right here." And he's like, "I'm gonna be right here," but it's your. I had to grow up fast. But also, my parents are. I mean, my dad is like in corporate, so you know what I mean. Like, he's used to
Yeah.
like an interview. Like, I'm not gonna wait in the lobby for your interview. I'm gonna be downstairs in the
Hmm.
car. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was crazy. I remember singing. It wasn't a singing role, but I sang in the audition. And when I came out, all of the parents were like, "They have to sing. You need to go sing. You need to go practice around the corner and sing." And I was like, "This is a lot. This is a lot. It's just a
Stressing you
lot."
out.
It was stressing me out. Yeah, and I could just see in some of the kids' faces it wasn't what they wanted to do. So
Wasn't fun anymore.
exactly, exactly.
So we got another question from Sierra. She said, "I'm planning on graduating with an acting degree and I have a manager, but I have no idea what to do after. Do you have any advice for what path to take after college?"
Can you say that one more time? You broke up just a little bit.
Oh, so she's planning on graduating with an acting degree and she has a
Hmm.
manager, but she has
Yeah,
no idea what to do after. So
got it.
what advice would you give her?
Okay. I would say if you have a manager and you're in school for acting, you need to be participating in as many of those student films as possible. There's all kinds of. Did it just pause? It just paused.
And so
Okay.
there's all kinds of, and then it stopped, but it's okay.
Okay. There are all kinds of things going on at your school that could help you right now that people are actually paying attention to. Like I said, not only are the future filmmakers currently there, and so you should get to know them. But also, these casting directors and directors, writers are searching online for, you know, content and material. So they're watching for that stuff. So if you're an actress, take that opportunity to connect with everyone. Even if you go to like the mass media section of your school and ask them, "Hey, are you doing anything with your camera? Can I be your subject?" And like be in front of the camera as much as possible. Then by the time you leave college, you have a reel. A reel is very important. I mean, I didn't have one when I got to start, but if I had gone through college first and put myself in front of the camera and was able to make a reel, that's awesome, because really what you need is an agent to start your auditioning, and they're going to want to see a reel, especially
Got
from
it.
older people. Kids, it's a lot easier for children and kids to get signed by a manager or an agent, but without having a reel, because you're kind of just going off of a cute look, you know, like,
Hmm.
oh, they look cute. Like, yeah, they could work. But as an adult, you walk up to someone as an adult and say, "I want you to sign me. I want to act." They're like, "Okay, show me your acting." And
Hmm.
if you don't have anything, they're not gonna, it doesn't
Yeah, they're
matter
gonna be
how
like, okay,
beautiful you are. If you're beautiful, you need a model. That's what they'll tell you. So, yeah,
damn.
that's what they'll tell you. That's what they'll tell you.
It sounds cutthroat. He's
It
like,
is.
okay.
That's why I said thick skin is very, very important. You can't take it too sensitive, especially because like we're artists and I feel like our heart is directly linked to whatever we put out. So it's so easy for like anything that anyone says to just cut really, really hard. And it
Hmm.
can. Like, I'm not saying to not let things hurt you or affect you. It should hurt if you really care about something, but you also have to have the mindset of like that's part of the process. Like, I'm supposed
Hmm.
to create things. I'm supposed to hear some criticism. I'm supposed to take some and leave some and grow.
I
So,
love that. I love that. And so, let me see another. Oh, actually, what other programs or like opportunities or resources would you give to like other actresses or singers that you know about?
I would definitely not local theater. I don't know if I said that before. That's what I did before I ended up doing everything else. I was in local theater in Houston. There's a historically black theater out here called the Ensemble Theater, and I got my start there. Um, There's also online opportunities other than, I told everybody, go find your 5 projects, look at the list of people attached to it, go follow them, go on to their Q&As, find out when they're going live, shout them out, all of that. I'd also get a part of Actors Access. That is a website that holds a lot of different auditions and castings in every city. You can put any city in there. I think there's another website now. That's the website that I used back in the day, and I know it's very still much so relevant, but there is
Mm-hmm.
something else that I think it's called, it's not Backstage, is it? I got to think about it. If I think about it, I'll bring it up. But there
Okay.
are some casting sites. I would say Actors Access is the number one, though.
Or if you find out, just text it to me, and then I'll upload it too.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Are you still auditioning?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, production has stopped right now. I wasn't really auditioning for the past 2 years very heavy like that because I was series regular on Empire. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you can't be series regular on more than one show at a time. It's against the union law.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. And so basically, you kind of have to pick and choose how you go out for things. Not only that, but whenever you sign on to a project, they get what's called first position over you, which is basically like they get dibs. So if you book something and you sign your contract with them, then you go and book something else. And let's say you're like, oh my God, I love this so much. This is my dream role. I really want to do it. The first one has the opportunity to be like, you're not going to do it because we need you on set that day.
Wow. So once somebody locks you in, pretty much like that's it.
Yeah, it's called first position. So it kind of
Yikes.
sucks, but I didn't have to go through anything as far as like turning down a role. Basically, the way that my team did it was like, we're just not going to go out for things that we're going to have to turn down because we don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go through that stress. Because like whenever I booked Empire, I had booked 3 roles and I had to choose. And I remember thinking like, this is the happiest day of my life, but it is the worst day of my life because how come I've gone several months without booking, and then I booked 3 at one time and I have to pick one. I can't do
Mm-hmm.
all of them. Like, why couldn't they be spread out? That does not make sense. But that's what happens as an actor. Like, that's what happens every single time. It's like that. So kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
And Joy said that the other thing was called Backstage.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I'm not too familiar with that one, but I know it's like similar to the Actors Access page.
Okay. What's the coolest role you ever had? Or the one you most enjoyed?
Coolest role. They were all pretty cool, but I guess I would have to say Empire was probably the biggest deal for me, just simply for the fact that I got to put both of my, little nooks into it. I got to act
Mm-hmm.
and sing, and that's the first time that's happened. When I did the quad, my character did end up singing, and I actually sang the intro to the show. The what is that called? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Why can't I think of the word? Um, oh, well, we'll think about
Yeah,
it.
now I can't think about it either.
It's crazy. Why can't I think of it? But yeah, the intro to the song was me singing, and that was really exciting. But my character wasn't an artist, you know?
Okay.
So on Empire, I actually got to be an artist. Like, obviously, as an artist, as a singer, my dream is to be on stage and to perform in front of thousands of people. And with Empire, I got to sing on stage in full glam with backup dancers and an audience. And, like, it was a dream. So it was pretty cool.
And do they make you like sing like for real, or do you have to like lip sync, or like how does that
It's
work?
it's up to you. And
Okay.
I always, like, my first day singing in front of Terrence Howard, he came up to me and he was like, let me give you some advice. And I was like, oh, please give me some advice, sir. And he was like, yeah, when they start recording your singing, actually sing. And I was like, oh. And I'm thinking, well, okay, great, because like I love to sing. But he
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, because whenever we record it, it looks fake when you don't actually sing. Like your lips don't fully match what's going on. So ever since then, every single time I was on stage or anytime I had a microphone in front of me, I sang out loud. And so every single time I'm singing.
That's awesome. And someone in the comments too, I think it's
Theme
Megan, the
song.
theme
Theme
song.
song.
Thank you.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
There we go.
If we had a giveaway, you would win
Yes, yes,
it.
yeah. So the quads theme song, I was singing that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna watch that after this and leave it on. Do you have any mentors in the industry?
Yeah, I have a few. So just people in general that I look up to that have been involved from a very long from the beginning, basically. Robbie Reed, um, Marab Barakakil. Those are people that actually wrote some of my recommendation letters for college.
Awesome.
um, Even Felicia Henderson, even though I haven't known her my entire career, she's the one that created the quad. And ever since I've worked with her, she's just been so open to helping me. I've learned a lot from her, and she actually is a huge reason why I got connected with Empire, because she was part of the writer's room and she was like, Caitlin, there's this role that you would be amazing for. I really want you to come in for it. And I was like, yeah, thank you. So those are the three people that I really look up to, that I have a personal relationship with. And then hopefully one day, I said it earlier, but Ava DuVernay is like one of my idols. So hopefully one day I am able to work with her. I believe I will. It'll
You
happen.
will. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And also, like, since I mean, you've been in the acting industry for now, what is this, like over a decade, right?
Yeah.
Do
Crazy.
are all your friends now, or like close friends in the industry too?
Pretty much all my, it's so crazy, like as an adult looking back at your friends and like how the evolution of friendships have happened. Most of my friends now are in the industry or I went to college with them.
Got it.
That's pretty much all my friends. I didn't have a very traditional high school experience. Like I said, I only went to 1 year of high school and then I started college. And even before that, I was always traveling, working. So in my hometown, while I have acquaintances and people that definitely know me or people that I hung out with every once in a while, I wasn't really here like that.
Mm.
So most of my friends I met in LA or at work, and that's just what ended up happening.
And how does your family feel now? I'm sure once they see you on a TV screen, not even just your parents, but like your cousins, your relatives are like, "Oh my God, I know her. This is awesome." Like, what was that like once you like got to hit a role that like everybody was able to like reach out to you, which I'm sure that was the game then.
Yeah, for my family, it's so funny because my family is so not like, there's like everyone's just so removed from this lifestyle and like what I'm doing. It's just so funny because they're just like, "Oh, you're on TV? Okay." Like it's not it's not really that big of a deal for them. Um, but I would say like the craziest thing is just like cousins that come out of nowhere that I never knew before that are like, "Hey, cousin." I'm like, "Oh, we're cousins? I didn't know that." That's probably the weirdest thing. My family is really supportive, like I said, and they have always been there. They're gonna watch whatever show I'm on, but they're very much so not like the bragging type or the type to
Mm.
just like make it a big deal. In fact, I remember like when I came into town, this whole corona thing happened, so I flew back to Houston, and my dad was watching television on the couch, and I was like, it was Tuesday, so I was like, "Are you gonna put on Empire?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, after this." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, I'm just gonna finish my movie first, and then I can put that on. I'm like, "Okay, Dad, okay." But that's just like,
Thanks
they're
for your
very,
support.
yeah, they're just very much so like chill. I'm still Katie, and they look at me as a goofy little girl that like won't shut up and is singing all the time. So
I love that. I think you also need that, right?
yeah, I like it. I have seen a lot of different dynamics, family dynamics through, just friends or, being in the industry. Like I said, I even my first audition in LA, I told you I saw a different dynamic there. And I was thinking like, oh my gosh, I was kind of jealous at the time. I do have to say, as a young kid, I remember thinking like, man, I really wish like my mom or my dad was the kind to come up here and like sit with me and like go. But now as an adult and then like seeing that over and over, I was like, hell no, I did not want that at all. Did not want that at all. Yeah.
I love
So
that.
I like the way that they did things. I do.
Soraya shouted you out today.
Oh, hi.
Um, what if what advice do you think? I mean, you gave a ton of advice already. What other like advice would you give to like people who are trying to get into that industry or just singing in general that are like maybe stuck, right? And they don't know
Yeah.
where to go.
Um, content. Just keep creating content because um, even the biggest person out there, especially right now, I can't urge people enough to take advantage of this time because everyone is on their phone. Which, yes, it does mean that things are getting very saturated, but it also
Hmm.
means that there is more minutes that there's a possibility someone's eyes will see what you put out there. So, as for before, you would probably like somebody might look at their phone at the end of the night and then like put it up and then they have a busy day and you get like maybe 20 minutes of someone's time at night of them going through social media. Now people are on here all day long and they're constantly looking for something that catches their eyes. So I would just tell people to take advantage of this time and create, um, and try to be original. I am very much so an advocate of original creative work instead of people doing the same thing over and over again. Instead of us creating the same TikTok over
Hmm.
and over and over again, why don't we create our own new stuff? Like make your own dance. Let's just,
I love that.
stop the challenges and just create new stuff. Yeah.
What drives you? What makes you so hungry to keep pursuing like acting? I know like, I'm sure people are like, "Oh my gosh, she's already made it. She's right here, right?" And I know you talked about your journey and how long it's taken you, right? But I know this is not like your end goal. I know you talked about your goals before, but like
Yeah.
what drives you or makes you hungry to keep going?
Um, well, definitely, I see. I came from parents that worked really hard to get to where they are. My parents had me in high school, and the odds were set against them,
Hmm.
and they made it to where they wanted to be, and they didn't let anything stop them or tell them no. So I just kind of come from that. But not only that, I'm constantly being able to work and be surrounded by people that I previously like looked up to. I still look up to those people, but like to be able to work side by side by them, it kind of just makes it more real of like, oh, okay, so I can do this. Like I can do this. Okay, I
Right.
can do this. So yeah, I think that's definitely what keeps me motivated. And having an awesome family support system, having great fans that tell me every day, like, oh my God, like you encourage me to, get into singing or into acting. And like, I love your work. Like, that really does mean a lot for me. And I do need it. So thank you.
I love that. And to round out this live, I always ask at the end, who is being great around you, right? Who's inspiring you, influencing you, pushing you? It doesn't have to be somebody like famous, but someone in your
Yeah.
life that like is like your, and I know you talk about your family, right? Your support system, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
who's being
Well,
great letting you know?
definitely. I mean, right now, just want to give a lot of appreciation to my mom because she is a healthcare provider. So she's on
Mhm.
the front lines right now, and that's just a scary thing to kind of see every day. But not only that, I am now the closest I've been to my sister in a long time because we are in two different cities.
Mhm.
And she's actually going to school in Chicago for editing, film editing. So recently I was able to see some of her work and she showed me her website with a lot of her like I guess like just samples of her work editing wise, and I was just like in awe. It actually inspired me to create more content. We're actually going to be working together soon and putting up a short series on my Instagram and everything because she's really good at it. And I
I
was like,
love that.
wow, you're really good at this. um Not that I was surprised that she's good at it, I just had never seen it, and I
Mhm.
didn't realize that I was related and that close to someone that is doing such good work. I needed to like we need to take advantage of that.
Mhm.
So yeah, those are two people that I really really look forward to look up to. Felicia also, like I said, she's been doing a lot of Q&As and speaking up for entertainment workers, and that's been amazing. I'm trying to think of who else. All my cast, really, we've been kind of keeping in touch and uplifting each other because even though our show didn't end the way that we quite wanted it to, we're very excited for what's next for everybody. Yeah, I
I
think
love that.
that's it.
Well, I
Thank
thank
you.
you for coming on the live and telling everybody about your journey and being
Thank
open
you.
and honest and answering people's questions too. I know a lot of times a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do this, so I'm glad you took an hour out of your day during this quarantine to do this. So
I'm happy I
very
got
much
to
so
do it.
appreciate it.
I'm happy. Oh, and also I should have said you, Brittany. Like honestly, ever since meeting you, I'm like, this is like one of the smartest women. Just knows information about everything. So yeah, I just love dope women that care about stuff. Like just to
Hmm.
speak up about things that you care about and to be interested in learning and to be interested in like making things better because that seems like something that's very easy, but there are so many people that are just gliding by and they don't really care about what things are looking like or where they
Right.
stand. But yeah, it's dope to know women like you, like yourself, that want to do something about the way things are.
Likewise, women empower women.
Yes,
Always
yes.
underlying thing. But yeah, I will save this, and then I'll send it to you too. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube and everything. So if people missed it, or if you guys missed the middle of it or the end of it or whatever, you guys can go back and reference it. But
Yay.
thank you again,
Thank
and
you.
have a great rest of your day.
Okay, you too. Stay safe. Bye, guys.
All right.
Okay,
Bye
bye.
bye.